The Toronto Blue Jays are being forced into an impossible decision. And I don't use that word lightly. While this team inches closer and closer to getting healthy again, and trust me, we are going to talk about all of that today, there's a massive, unavoidable decision looming over this roster right now. It involves one player who has absolutely torched Major League pitching since the day he stepped foot on a big league field. And the uncomfortable reality is this: the Jays could be forced into sending him down again. We're going to break down exactly what I'm talking about, what it means for this team going forward, and why I genuinely believe making the wrong call here could cost them. Not just games, momentum, confidence, everything this team needs right now. On top of that, we've got a ton of updates heading into this crucial series against the New York Yankees. You're going to want to stick around to the very end of this video because there is a lot to unpack today. Let's get right into it. Let's start with Yohendrick Pinango because we need to talk about him seriously, not as a prospect, as a big league hitter, because that's exactly what he has looked like since he made his MLB debut on April 26th. In his first stretch with the Blue Jays, Pinango slashed .375 with an OPS approaching .850. He collected extra base hits, got on base at a clip that made every other hitter on this roster look ordinary by comparison, and delivered at-bat after at-bat the way veterans are supposed to. His WRC plus numbers told the story too. The guy has been performing significantly above league average. Not slightly, significantly. He was acquired from the Cubs in the deal that sent Nate Pearson to Chicago, along with Josh Rivera. And the thing is, Nate Pearson, a former first-round pick, has accumulated negative career WAR. Pinango, in his first handful of big league games, already surpassed him. Think about that for a second. The asset the Jays gave up is already being outperformed by the guy they got back. That's how good Pinango has been. And yet, the Jays sent him down. When Addison Barger came back off the injured list on May 9th, it was Pinango who got optioned to AAA Buffalo. Manager John Schneider even admitted publicly it was a tough decision given Pinango's performance. The reason? The Blue Jays would have been completely overloaded with left-handed outfielders. They understood that. I understood that. But I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like it, and I think most of you didn't either. Here's the thing, though. Barger's ankle has been an ongoing concern, and now he's dealing with additional discomfort. The injury situation with this team is absolutely relentless right now. Nathan Lukes has been limited. George Springer's toe issue has kept him out. And with all of that, Pinango got recalled. He's back in Toronto. And now we're right back at the same crossroads because Barger is getting healthier again, and this roster crunch is coming whether we like it or not. So what do? Look at what Pinango's StatCast page shows. His exit velocity, his hard hit rate, his expected batting average, all pointing to a guy who belongs at this level. His career MLB line now sits at .333 with a .810 OPS, and his xWOBA is strong. You're talking about a 24-year-old who hits the ball hard, takes a walk, makes consistent contact, and has been serviceable in the corner outfield. Yes, he went 0 for 4 in one recent game. You know what that means in a sample size this small? Absolutely nothing. You don't throw away what this kid has shown you over weeks because of one bad night. And the bat-to-ball skills this guy has shown are genuinely special. The zone management has improved. The approach at the plate has matured. His walk rate going back to his time in AA and AAA has quietly ticked up, and he's not chasing the way he used to. This isn't a fluke. This is a player who has been developing the right way, and he has now proven, twice, that when given the opportunity, he delivers. So who has to go when Barger returns? This is where I want to be direct with you. I think the answer here should be Lenyn Sosa. Look, Sosa had 20 home runs a year ago, I remember that. The Blue Jays absolutely valued him as an asset when they acquired him from the White Sox back on April 13th. And I get why they held on to him. He gives you infield versatility, he can play second base, and the front office does not like losing assets on the open market. That's fair. That's how front offices think. But here is what the 2026 season has actually told us about Lenyn Sosa. He has been bad. He is hitting well below where any of us expected. His OPS is a mess, his walk rate is essentially non-existent, and while he's made some contact, it hasn't produced. The one home run he's managed this season does not make up for what the rest of the stat line looks like. The justification for keeping him around keeps getting thinner and thinner every week. Now compare that to Davis Schneider. I know Schneider has also had a rough go of it offensively in 2026. His average has been low, and that's real. But here is why I still lean toward Schneider over Sosa. Schneider takes walks. He gets on base. He has defensive versatility that genuinely helps a big league roster. He can play the outfield. He gives you another option against lefties. And he has clubhouse value that John Schneider has spoken about openly. His OBP is higher than Sosa's. And frankly, I think there is still a version of Davis Schneider who breaks out of this slump because his underlying numbers suggest the approach is still there, even when the results haven't been. The DFA conversation around Sosa is real. You hate losing what could have been a productive asset. But the Blue Jays already lost that asset the moment Sosa stopped producing. If it comes down to Sosa versus Pinango on this roster, and it will, you cannot choose Sosa. You cannot choose in 0 for whatever stretch, and 1 home run over a guy hitting .333 in the big leagues with a .810 OPS and elite contact numbers. The overwhelming response I've seen from Blue Jays fans on this has been unanimous. Keep Pinango, and I agree completely. He cannot be the one to go again. He just can't. The Jays already made that mistake once. They can't make it again. Now let's shift gears and talk about what is coming up, because this series against the New York Yankees is one of the most important stretches this team has played so far in 2026. Let's start with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., because Vladdy has been a topic of a lot of conversation around this team lately. He's been working through a stretch where the power numbers haven't reflected what we know this guy is capable of. His batting average is sitting around .286. His OBP is .373. The plate discipline is still there. The walks are still there, but he's been going through a power drought relative to the standard he set for himself over the last few seasons. What changed recently? He hit a home run in the latest game against the Tigers. He went 2 for 4. And the key update is that Vladdy publicly said he was comfortable batting second instead of his customary third spot in the order. He said something to the effect that if the team needs him somewhere in the lineup, that's where he'll go. And that matters, folks. That is a leader speaking, not a guy who is protecting his stats, not a guy who is protecting his comfort zone, a guy who wants to win baseball games and will do whatever it takes to make that happen. That kind of mentality is exactly what you want walking into Yankee Stadium. Because here's the thing about Vladdy versus the Yankees. His career numbers at Yankee Stadium are extraordinary. We're talking dominant production. Over the course of his career, he has hit 12 home runs there alone, including 1 as recently as last season. The Bronx has been a house of horror for a lot of opposing players, but it has been a playground for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And if there is one series where you believe a slumping Vladdy can snap out of it in a big way, it is this one. The matchup is right. The stage is right. And the timing could not be more critical. A sweep of the Yankees, or even winning 3 out of 4, doesn't just change the standings. It changes the energy around this entire team. It signals that even through the chaos of injuries and roster shuffling and lineup inconsistency, the Toronto Blue Jays are not going away quietly. You want a turning point? This series is it. We've already had a hint of one. The Marshall Adolfo Grand Slam a couple of games ago was the kind of moment this team needed desperately. Now you stack that on top of Vladdy going yard, and the momentum is beginning to build in the right direction. Don't let anyone tell you this team is too far gone. They are getting healthier by the week. The pieces are coming back. Now, let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough on this channel, and honestly, I'll take some blame for that. Dylan Cease has been absolutely elite this season. Top 10 in baseball in WAR. Not just among pitchers, among all players. He is sitting at a 2.41 ERA with a strikeout rate of 12.90 per 9 innings, which leads the American League. He was already the first pitcher in the AL to reach 75 strikeouts this season. His FIP is under 2. His KBB percentage of 24.9 is the best of his career. And he has done it all while making a critical adjustment to his arsenal, adding more changeup, more sinker usage, and a sweeper, which has made him exponentially less predictable and more difficult to hit. The Blue Jays gave Dylan Cease a massive 7-year deal in the offseason, and there were people who questioned whether he was worth it. We are not even halfway through the first year of that deal, and he has already exceeded expectations. He's not just a good signing. Right now, at this very moment in the 2026 season, he is making a legitimate Cy Young case. That is what the Blue Jays have at the front of their rotation when healthy. That is what this team can build around. And you need to appreciate it while you're watching it, because a pitcher performing at this level while the team around him is dealing with this many injuries is genuinely remarkable. And while we're giving out credit that's long overdue, Louis Varland? Folks, his win probability added this season has been among the best of any reliever in the entire sport. We talked about Jeff Hoffman's struggles in the closer role earlier this season. The data pointed to Varland as the answer, and Varland has been the answer. The bullpen has not been what we wanted this year, but Varland has been a stabilizing force in the late innings. Give that man his flowers. The injuries have been relentless. Jose Barrios and his elbow stress fracture, Nathan Lukes and his hamstring, Addison Barger, and the ankle situation that has become a recurring storyline. George Springer's toe, the rotation depth that has required a patchwork of arms just to keep Toronto competitive on a nightly basis. This has been one of the hardest hit rosters in baseball when it comes to the injury report. And yet this team keeps playing. They've won back-to-back games heading into this Yankees series. They are starting to get reinforcements back on a rolling basis. Shane Bieber's return would change things. Berrios' return would change things. When this roster is whole, or even close to whole, it looks very different than what we've been watching. That's the thing you need to hold on to as a Blue Jays fan right now. The floor this team has been playing at while operating with a depleted roster is actually encouraging. Because the ceiling, when healthy, with Vladdy heating up, with Cease leading the rotation, with Pinango in the lineup every single day, is significantly higher than where they've been. The conversation tonight is simple. 2 consecutive wins. A series against the Yankees that could define the early arc of this season. A roster decision coming that will once again test whether this front office has learned from the choices it's already made. And a 24-year-old left-handed outfielder from Carora, Venezuela, who has done absolutely nothing wrong except hit baseballs hard and get on base at a ridiculous clip. Keep Yohendrick Pinango on this roster. Full stop. Let the numbers make the argument for you, because they make it louder than I ever could. Let me know down below who you think the Jays should DFA to clear a spot, and whether you think this Yankees series is the turning point we've all been waiting for. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. The Toronto Blue Jays are not done. Not even close. And if you've been riding with this team through everything this season has thrown at them, you already know that. Stay locked in, folks. This is Blue Jays Focus, and we will see you in the next one.